All right, everybody, here for another Emerald City Hockey postgame live dance party. Let's go.
Yes, two in a
And
row.
two in a row, and like this one feels so good, RJ. Sweet, sweet revenge. Feels so good.
Yes, definitely does. I mean, a huge bounce back win after, what was an embarrassing game against the Oilers a couple games ago. Those are not my words. That's Dave Haxtell's words.
Yep.
And when you hear it from the coach, you know it was embarrassing. But the Kraken made right on that tonight and just earned themselves a huge win.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear what his post game comments for this one will be, just because it should be a good one. But there's lots of stuff that we can get to on this post game live presented by Queen Anne Beer Hall. Had to be a fun time to go see this one over at Queen Anne. I got to imagine the atmosphere there was pretty good for this road game. There's a couple things that we'll touch on, and I'm sure they'll all get brought up when I go over to the comment section in just a second here. But Kraken, you managed to shut down McDavid far more than you ever have been able to really before. You're able to fight back after being down 2-0. That's not insignificant. Maddie gets back on the score sheet. You get him going. You get another power play goal, so that's nice. Build on that 2 games in a row. Your PK manages to kind of slow down the top power play in the league, and you're back to your winning ways when you lose on the faceoff dot.
How much did they lose the faceoff battle by? It's crazy because couple of their goals came off of key faceoff wins in the offensive zone.
Yeah, 61% for the Oilers, 39% for the Kraken. Maddie doing his part, 7% tonight for Maddie in the faceoff circle. Doesn't matter. He got a goal and got an assist.
I know Piper asked him a question about like the importance of faceoffs and winning the faceoff battle in the first intermission. I'm like, I feel like his numbers aren't that good there, but it was the other guys winning the faceoffs. But always funny to see his reaction. Like, yeah, it's really important.
Hey, I just appreciate he actually like answers interview questions. He doesn't do like the normal athlete thing. Like he stays present in the moment and he actually tries to give the best answer he can, given the fact that he's just played a period of hockey and he's just trying to catch his breath.
Credit to Maddie on that.
Definitely appreciate that. All right, gonna hop over here into the comment section because I got to imagine everybody's feeling really good after this one. James kicking things off with, I'd like to know the percentage of games the Kraken win when Beniers tallies at least 1 point. That is a very good question, James. I see RJ immediately go to his computer. Maybe we'll get an answer here.
See if I can figure that out quickly.
Yes. Hunter with the let's go. Brian, that's Kraken lunch pail hockey, baby. It is. Absolutely, Brian. Gonna shoot down here got a couple super chats. First one from CR Bud. Taste it, Edmonton. A little nice emoji. I bet it tastes probably something good like some yellow Gatorade.
Yeah, there you go. Got the Gatorade.
That's what I'm gonna
ready
taste
to go
there. And also a super chat here from Braun. Hey boys, first time I've seen a coach's challenge make a significant positive impact. Love to see the record where it is at this point. Thanks. That is true.
I'm glad you brought that up, Braun, because this is a big talking point. And I think potentially a major turning point in this game was that coach's challenge on the power play goal by Edmonton. Offside challenge, and this was a bold challenge too. It was not obvious. When they showed the replay, it was not a foot offside. It was very close with that skate dragging there. And at that point, the Kraken hadn't killed an Oilers penalty since 2021. And knowing that you were potentially putting them back on the power play.
Yes.
Yeah,
no, sorry to cut you off. That was my first reaction was, okay, Haxtell must be very, very, very confident in this. Because yes, not only are you going to try to win this challenge, take that goal off the board, maintain your 2-goal lead. If you get it wrong, you're against this power play, like you're practically handing them a tie game again, right? Because the momentum swing, how good they are, all of those things. And then when we finally get to see on the Root broadcast how close it was, I was like, oh, he was confident, but like that's not as I thought it was going to be something super obvious,
right? No, and Haxtell looked confident in it too, but again, he doesn't get to take a look at it. He just relies on what the video coaches tell him.
Yeah.
And they've got to give it with a degree of confidence too. You have to stand by, what you think there. And it's one thing to look at it on TV and be like, oh yeah, that's probably offside. It's another to have it be your job to make that call and to relay that to the coach. And I mean, just huge credit to Tim Ohashi and Brady Morgan in that video room. It's a hard job, and they basically saved the Kraken a goal and potentially the game in this one.
Yeah, that was a very pivotal moment. You could feel that there was a massive momentum swing there coming back from the Oilers and going back in the Kraken's favor. It was a huge, huge moment. And yeah, absolutely. 100% credit goes to them on that one. Greg, my favorite type of game, get embarrassed at home, go to their house, go down 0-2, then say enough, lay the wood on them. Fantastic effort from the boys. They believe in each other. Yeah, I mean, we just talked about this on the deep dive, all the ideas of really a lot of these questions of how long can they keep this kind of conservative defensive structure going and playing smart defensively, the all the stuff about whether or not where the motivation is coming from for this team, and then also the idea of getting the top six going again. And you see a goal from Maddie, you see a goal from Jaden Schwartz, get a goal from Jared McCann in this one, a goal from Alex Wenberg. Granted, it's an empty net one, but it really does feel like, okay, something has definitely changed for this team.
Yeah, somebody in the top six had to step up and get things going. And, we know how hockey works. It's a momentum game. And sometimes it can go dry for long times, and other times the floodgates can open. And I think most credit should go to Matty Beniers on this one for basically, willing the team into that really quick 2-goal comeback, going to the front of the net, to those hard areas, to those dirty areas. And we talked about, McCann, Eberle, and Beniers on that forward line being kind of perimeter guys. And yes, I know this was on the power play, but still, you don't usually see Matty in that spot.
Right.
But when you go to that spot, you get rewarded and you score goals. And then, of course, the vision from up top near the blue line to find Jaden Schwartz, who on a couple of those angles wasn't even in frame until right when he touched the puck. Just great play from Matty Beniers.
That's the kind of like peak Matty Beniers play. Like when I think of it, it's him kind of cycling around, him being up high, and then doing something like that, being able to make that pass. And that's why, I think I brought it up on the deep dive, get Schwartzy on a line with Maddie. I really think there could be something there, and that play kind of backs up that idea. Gonna be, tons of people in here, 107 in here. Thanks everybody for joining us for this one. So it means chat's gonna be super busy, so I'm gonna be jumping around in chat a little bit. So if I pass up one of your comments, feel free to stick it back in down at the bottom. I'll try to get to it second go around. Emmy, this team just doesn't quit. I love it. I mean, this is something that we've talked about really through all the games. I mean, even in that first Oilers game, that Oilers game from last week, there was still that element of the team trying and trying to, work out the positives. If there was one positive to take away from that game, it was that. And tonight they're able to, use that to their advantage and pick up the 2 points.
And that's something you've always been able to say about this team. Good or bad results dating back to last season, this team does not quit. They don't go away. And that's a reason to love them in wins and in losses.
Yeah, I like this from Kraken Huck. Most teams would have packed it in after the McJesus goal, but it sparked them, and the ensuing Kraken onslaught in the second period was what this team needed. This is a great start to the road trip. So absolutely fantastic start to the road trip. But I do think this is a benefit of having, that last game against the Oilers being only a handful of days ago and only 2 games ago, was that it was very fresh in their minds. That feeling of just kind of getting wrecked by them, very, very fresh and still raw for these guys. And I do think that they were able to use that emotion after that goal to start that second period and go down 0-2 to really drive and motivate them in a way that, if there was a month in between these 2 games, maybe that same level of emotion doesn't quite exist.
Agreed. And they basically made a decision. We're not going to get embarrassed again. We may not win this game. You never know how balances go, but we're not going to get embarrassed again. And we're going to see to that. And you look at from that McDavid goal onwards, I'm looking at Money Puck right here. The expected goals were 4.3 roughly for the Kraken to 1.3 for the Oilers. It really turned at that point. Kraken had less than 1 expected goal at that point. And it turned right then and there.
Yeah, no, it absolutely did. Sarah, this team knows how to turn it around. I love our boys. I love them too, Sarah. Tom, does Jones getting the start tonight imply that Hackstall sees Jones as his 1A? Back to back for Jones after putting in 55 minutes relieving Grew last week. I mean, it is. I mean, you could definitely ask that question now.
I think, Dave Haxtell just has no problem playing the hot hand. And I love that about him. That's the thing.
Mhm.
He's not focused on necessarily his goalie's salaries or the contract length or anything. He's going to go with the goalie who's hot at that particular time. And I think that's what you have to do with goaltending. And as long as Martin Jones continues to play like this, why mess with it?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Brian here with the super chat. Off to bed early to rise. So studs, Jones, Beniers, Schwartz, clutch back check by Tolvanen after we just tied it, denying a sure grade A in the slots. Coming in with that defense again, those back check, absolutely love it. Hope you have a fantastic night, Brian. Glad you could join us here for a little bit. Yeah, it was a really, really good game all the way around from him. And I do agree with those studs. I mean, Martin Jones made good saves to keep this team in it, didn't allow a lot of big rebounds. That was something that happened for the Oilers for sure, that kind of helped cost them the game. And then obviously Beniers and Schwartz, those are huge goals.
Yeah, for sure. And one more thing on Matty Beniers too. The back checking from him and the puck pressure in the D zone too. I found myself just wanting to clip just, almost every other shift from him, something, clip the video. And it had been a little while since I had, had a game where I really wanted to do that.
Yeah. Let's see. Greg, can we get a whiteboard of our power play? We do this silly thing on zone entry where we have two guys next to each other at the blue line against the boards and try to pass, always gets fumbled. I've been complaining about this for a really long time. I still don't know why we're doing it, Greg, but it is the zone entries on the power play are a very big problem for the Seattle Kraken. I don't know. It should just be as simple as sticking one guy on one boards, one guy on the other, have somebody try to go up the middle, and if it's not going to be there, just pass to whichever side the defense is soft on. It can be that simple. Like that's what a lot of other teams have done to us. I don't know why we can't manage to do that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Creative Moxie defense stayed with their assignments, stayed disciplined. Absolutely. I mean, we asked the question of how long can this keep going from the defense after that Islanders game really put to the test tonight against the Oilers, who have Draisaitl back. We haven't even mentioned that fact yet, but like this was like legit Oilers. And but the defense did. They hung in there. They stayed in around Jones, just right to the side of him where they could make sure that they were going to keep anybody from trying to go cross crease, or certainly any passes to go cross crease, which was absolutely killing them before these last couple games. So I am happy to see that this defensive thing is sticking around for a little while at least.
Yeah, the focus has to stay present. It's something you have to go out and like re-earn every single game, but so far so good.
Yep. Another super chat here from Duthin. Shout out for some power play success. Yes, RJ. Back-to-back games now with a power play goal. Team is feeling it. We already talked about Maddie going to the dirty areas, getting net front. That's something that they needed to do more of. But I mean, is this just a sign of more good things to come?
I think so. And you look at, kind of the underlying how the power play looks. I see a little bit more movement. I see more confidence with the puck. They're winning faceoffs to start off the power play too, which is huge. You don't have to go and try and get a zone entry, which, as was just mentioned in the comments, they've struggled with sometimes. But yeah, I think this could be the start of more success, and it's kind of like hockey in general with that momentum game. You'll see a power play go cold for a long time, and then all of a sudden they figure it out, and the goals follow.
Yeah, exactly. And what I was happy about was, I was a little worried. Obviously, we loved that Tolvanen goal last time on the power play, that rocket of a one-timer. It was fantastic. But I was worried that then we were going to see the power play come out tonight and just try to force feed that. You know what I mean? And just like, oh my gosh, we found something that could work, like, and just go after it. And instead, we really saw the exact opposite, where we saw them really focus on going to the net, trying to, take shots from the perimeter to generate rebounds, and then have one or really two guys there net front. They had whoever was in the bumper role was playing exceptionally low tonight, towards the crease, I felt like. And they were really going to try to win with numbers in and around the blue paint there. And I think that I was really happy to see that, because that showed that You weren't going to just be like simple and try to repeat the one thing that was successful for them. They're really thinking about this, and they know they need to find something that can be consistent for them. And look, if you run this long enough where you're really focused on inside and trying to score a dirty goal on the power play, you're going to open up that one-timer attempt a little bit later on.
Yeah, definitely. It's part of staying unpredictable, and that's what you have to do on a power play. You know, when you become predictable, you're easy to defend against. But when you have multiple things going, multiple ways that you can set up shots, it's impossible to defend because the extra man is just going to cause mismatches.
Yeah, absolutely. Joshua, this was a nice redemption game. Great way to kick off this road trip. Almost midnight on the East Coast, so I'll listen to the stream tomorrow. Just wanted to drop by to say hi and like the stream. Well, you might already be out of here, but hope you're having a pleasant morning tomorrow, Joshua. And thanks for stopping by. Lindsay, that's Kraken hockey, baby. Undefeated in 2023. Oh man, I love that. Getting that streak going. It's what a fantastic way to start the new year, everybody. And I guess I should probably go ahead and mention it. It feels like it's been long enough. I can safely do this. Adam Larson point streak, keeping it going. Game 7.
Yep.
Just saying.
Yep. Tying his personal best, and I believe tying the franchise record for longest point streak. One more, and he sets it out right.
Yep, exactly. Alex, don't lose too many in a row. String off a bunch of wins. That's the name of the game in the NHL. And you know what? To the Kraken's credit, I know it was a rough stretch there. We were going into that Islanders game, losing 8 of 10, but something that you've been good to point out is that the Kraken don't lose more than 3 at a time. Like, they are good at stopping things before they get, just way, way, way out of hand. And that is definitely the key to success, or at least staying in the playoff picture in the NHL, given how many teams can make the playoffs. Gregory with the lemon lime Gatorade time, baby. Got you, Gregory. Maddie back on the Calder train. Let's go. Feels like we've got our step back. Absolutely. I mean, that is a big part of this. I do feel like this team goes. I don't know if you were able to, kind of quickly pull up any sort of stat about how often the Kraken win when Maddie scores.
It was too much to keep track of on the fly. I'll just pull this up instead.
There we go. The Maddie for Calder tease. Oh, I can't wait to get up there and get my hands on mine. Looking forward to it. Link in the description below, everybody. Let's see. The arena was so silent in the second, so poetic. Oh my gosh, yes, nice to turn that around and get that going for us. Let's see, Tammy, with the 4-minute power play, were we trying to kill time, or did we just play poorly there? I felt like that was just kind of the Kraken power play reverting back to not being so great.
Agreed. I think that was just a bad power play, but it had the nice side effect of killing off 4 minutes.
Yeah, and it did work in that regard. But yeah, I feel like in that situation, you're never trying to just kill time. It's not enough of a lead. You really do want to kind of, put your foot on their throats in something like that, especially against a team with a McDavid and stuff.
Yeah.
Kyle, did anyone else notice a bunch of kids in Kraken jerseys with Oiler fan parents? I did. We're successful. We've successfully corrupted the youth, RJ. We're
Congrats. Can we get the confetti going on that one?
I was gonna say we're like all good things that history later, we all look back on and go like, what was everybody concerned about? Like the Beatles, There was a time people would have freaked out about them, and now we just go, really? That's gonna be
rock and roll music and the Seattle Kraken and all that.
That's gonna be the Seattle Kraken, when they're like the most popular team in the NHL. Everyone's gonna be like, yeah, well,
Socrates mode, says Alex.
Yes. Let's see. Super chat here from MK Parker. First, thanks for your post game and weekly pods. Second, I agree that Alexiak appeared to have a better than average game. Thoughts? Well, first, you're welcome, and thank you for the super chat. I did think that Alexiak, he had that one penalty later on, but I do feel like Alexiak has stepped it up, and I do think that this has been like kind of a quiet growth for him, really through all of December. Like, I don't feel like he was really the guy that we were calling out when we were calling out all their issues net front or in a lot of situations. I do feel like he's done the best job of at least being consistent after his rough start to the year.
Yeah, and it's been good to see that bounce back from him. And I pointed this out, I believe it was in the Islanders game, where it was so refreshing to see him put some opponents on their backsides when they were getting to the front of the Kraken net. I mean, it just hasn't been a tough enough place for opponents to play throughout the course of the season. And Alexiak was doing the best he could to try and remedy that.
Yeah, for sure. Another super chat here from Sean. Thank you very much, Sean. Huge response win. Felt like dropping this one would have been bad. Studs, Matty for Calder, Schwartz, Jones only gave up one power play goal. So that is something. That is absolutely something, especially against this power play that, I mean, I guess we held them to about their average. They were about 33% on the power play tonight, but it felt like a lot more than that. It felt like such a massive win for this team, especially after last time. And once again, that the video coaches totally helped save us there as well.
Oh, for sure. And also just staying out of the box through the second period, not having to deal
Yes,
with that in that time. If you take a penalty in the middle of the second, the momentum of that whole, for an answered goal run can just go right away.
absolutely. Chris stoked held Edmonton scoreless the last 39 minutes. Great eyes on that offside. Someone get video coach a Molson or a Timbit. Love it.
Well deserved for sure.
Yes. Let's see, Jay. I feel like Geeky is about the only reliable win on the face-off. Let me see here, because I read off Maddie's face-off numbers tonight. Yanni Gord had a nice night, 65%. I feel like that's the highest number we've seen from a Kraken in a long time.
Yeah, I can't remember seeing one that high in a while.
It has definitely been a hot minute. Donato 50% tonight, though. That was a nice bounce back performance
Oh
from
yeah.
him. Lindsay, the Kraken scored 5 unanswered goals only after RJ agreed to be my team's goalie for our next game. Coincidence or karma?
I think I got to go in the karma camp. You can't argue with results. Looking forward for subbing as goalie for your team this weekend. And yeah, I'm glad I did it. And I'll just take full credit for everything that happened.
Yeah, I was gonna say it wasn't 2 games worth, so you can't string it together as coincidence, right?
There
That's
you
how it works.
go.
Let's see. George, not sure if this has been covered recently, but any update on Donskoy? I know you're probably tired of always getting this question, RJ, but I do feel compelled to ask about it.
Yeah, no update. Still, I mean, still in day to day since the preseason. But yeah, he's
Yeah.
not coming back anytime soon. I mean, he's around the team facility and everything, but don't expect him back anytime soon.
Yeah. From Brandon here, question: is it just me, or do the Kraken play completely different and better in front of Martin Jones than they do in front of Grubauer? Is it just a trust thing? So we just spoke about this on the latest episode of our podcast, The Deep Dive. You could find that video on the channel here. I- like, long story short, I feel like they were playing, you know, I don't know. I'm trying to think of how to summarize it quickly. I will say this: for these last 2 games, since that last Oilers game where the team has really stepped up and really tried to focus on playing defense, the defense has done a really good job of basically disciplining themselves and staying
Mhm.
in and around the goaltender. Jones has just happened to be the goaltender for both of those games, so we haven't really seen this kind of new look defense in front of Grubauer yet.
It's true, and I think yes, they played a lot better under Jones the last couple games, but it's not because Martin Jones has been in net. It's because they got embarrassed by that Oilers team and have responded to it. So I'm eager to see Grubauer behind this
Mhm.
new focused defense. I just gotta hope they stay focused for long enough to where he can get a net.
Exactly. Let's see, Evan. We popped off in the second, and Hackstall really came in clutch with the challenge. Great team game. Let's go. Oh man, absolutely. Let's see, Gary. Good to see our top 2 lines getting us on the board. It is, and it's been. I mean, it's really kind of legit been a long time, RJ. I know with with the Christmas break and everything, it does. It feels like weeks.
Yeah, it was a long stretch where the top six just kind of went dry, but good to see it all kind of balance out. Hopefully that continues.
Yes, Michael, and just like that, the Kraken are 4-3 over their last 7 games.
It's an up and down season. This happens.
Yep, but you know what? They're doing a good job or correcting here to 4-2-1. So
Okay,
that is
that's
good.
even better.
Yeah. Let's see. Stratic. It wasn't goalie interference, so I knew they'd win it.
Yeah, no.
If
So it wasn't down to a coin toss.
yes, it wasn't down to whatever the heck they're trying to do. Let's see here. Lindsay also pointing out undefeated with Tolvanen in the lineup. It is true.
Yep. I mean, he's been great. He's on a 2 game point streak. He's gotten a point in every game he's been in the lineup. Man, these bottom six forwards are just making it impossible to take any of them out of the lineup, really.
They are. I don't know what you're supposed to do with it. I don't know what you're supposed to do with Shane Wright. Maybe eventually comes back. Maybe all this plays into a decision to not have Shane Wright come back to Seattle, and you do go back to the OHL just because everybody is playing so well down there. And tonight is a night where yeah, I guess Yanni Gord is technically bottom six for this team, but it's not a night where really any of them picked up a goal, but we're still talking about them because they
Yep.
still played a really, really good game and they were still able to win that depth matchup and drive possession into the Edmonton zone. So this would be more traditional for most teams, have that depth, just kind of drive possession, let your top guys score. But it just shows, this Kraken team, when they are feeling it, they have that forward depth that, there is no reason that they can't drop 5 on basically anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Daryl, Jones's saves above expected must have been really good. Still some concerns, but this was an awesome game against the game's 2 greatest. It is true. I mean, again, McDavid, Draisaitl can't be understated. To limit that team to only 2 goals is a big, big deal. And yeah, I don't know I don't have that number
Saved
in
about
front of me.
0.66 goals above expected according to Money Puck. I do have it up.
All right. Okay. There we go. So that's not bad. It's maybe not as much as you'd think, but
It's a quality
it's not
start.
bad. Yeah. All right. Here, our friends over at Circling Seattle Sports. What a game to begin this road trip. Shout out Tim Ohashi for that video challenge. Really impressive way to begin this stretch. Really glad Jones didn't have to face too many dangerous chances. Yeah, they did a fantastic job in limiting the because you could tell the Oilers wanted to move into the slot. They wanted to get in down low against Jones and against the Kraken there, and the Kraken defense did a really good job of limiting those chances. As are you back? Can you hear me again?
Yes, I'm back. Just had to replace the battery real quick.
Yeah, the Kraken did a really good job. The Oilers want to get down in there. They do like to score net front. They do like to get those dirty goals, but the Kraken they made sure that to make that clear that, hey, this is like a no-fly zone.
Yeah, and they kept the sight lines clear, which is huge for any goalie, and especially Martin Jones. When he can see pucks consistently, he's going to have one of those really quiet games where you just don't get worried about any puck thrown his way.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Light just looked at all games the Kraken have played. Of the 10 5+ goal games, this is the second time we have scored 5 unanswered goals. First time was the 6-1 win against the LA Kings last year. So it's our first time getting 5 unanswered this season. For a second, I was like, oh, geez, did that Kings game earlier start 6-1? It's all still such a blur in my head.
I think you may have asked, Light. I think you may have asked about that on Twitter. And again, sorry for not. I wanted to go look up the answer, but so much kept happening in the game, I didn't have time to go look it up. But thank you for going and finding that.
Yeah, because that is good. And again, so happy that this came in a divisional matchup against a team that's very much like, we're going to be battling with realistically the rest of this season for a playoff spot. So to be able to get that kind of in there, not only does it kind of erase the bad memories from that last one, but you can really build off of that moving forward. Really, really happy about it. And just kick off a road trip just makes it all the sweeter. Lots of Maddie B love in here. Love to see that. Dalek, honestly, I felt it was just a bit of holiday break rust. They had a long break and just had the bad luck of facing back-to-backs of the teams chasing them. I think there is something to be said for that. Anytime you get, those kind of extended breaks, I'm trying to think back like through last season and stuff. The Kraken do sometimes come out of breaks slow.
Well, it's true. Yeah. And actually my dad pointed this out to me last week where he said, I feel like the Kraken come out of break slow and maybe you should look that up. So I did. And on a break longer than 3 days, the Kraken have had 4 of those in their franchise history. They've lost the first game coming back in all 4.
All right. So there you go.
And in all but one, they've lost the second game coming back. On a couple of them, they lost the next 7. So those were, of course, last season. But yeah, it's been a consistent theme.
All right, so the Dalek knows what's talking about. If you could eliminate or exterminate, I should say, any extended breaks moving forward for the Seattle Kraken, it would be much appreciated. Tammy, I had issues with the broadcast, so spent a lot of time watching on my phone trying to connect. How did Tolvanen look overall tonight? I talked about it a little bit earlier. I felt like he picked up a lot from what he was doing well last game, just playing a 200-foot game and being a really nice depth piece that if the puck kind of comes over to him can be really dangerous offensively.
Yeah, no, I think you just about covered it.
Yes. James, any chance we can get post-game lives posted as podcasts on Spotify? These games, especially 7 p.m. West Coast time, make it hard to stay up. But but y'all are the best. Give it to me. Brekkie lunch and din. Love the love there, James. We could maybe look into doing something like
Yeah,
that.
I know. I mean, we've like very briefly thought about adding these to, the audio of these to our podcast feed. We'll see kind of how feasible it is. But it's a good idea. Thank you for the feedback too. And if anyone else has
Yes.
like feedback
Yeah.
on stuff like that, let us hear it. We love to, we love to hear that.
Yes, critiques and criticisms, send them our way. We're fine with it. We love it. Lets us know how we're doing. Let's see. Low-key awesome. Jones with the 938 against that lineup is fantastic. I mean, for sure. He had a really solid game in here. Let's see. Don't forget to toss a like for the stream from Jay there. Thank you, Jay. Let's see. This one from Al. The rivalry is on. Darn you, Seattle. Squish the fish. So I think we have an Oilers fan in here.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining us, Al. And this is part of the fun part about hockey and these rivalries. They don't work if they're just one sided, and definitely a frustrating loss for the Oilers after an embarrassing loss for the Kraken. And it's this back and forth that makes rivalries like this so good.
Yeah, for sure. This is from Julius. Great game for the Kraken. Had a feeling they would bounce back, though. Didn't expect this. But for as good as McDavid is, shouldn't the Oilers be consistently better?
You know what? They should. I know it definitely feels like a lot of McDavid and Draisaitl's primes have been wasted so far.
Yeah, it is kind of surprising as you look at the NHL stats leaders for the season and watch them with their points leads that are just grossly higher than anybody else, and you then look at the team in the standings and you just go, huh. Um, but yeah, it's going to be one of those great questions we might be asking, 20, 30 years from now. The what ifs that could come from maybe this. Let's see. Oh, Maggots. That's a name I haven't seen in here for a while. Going into the second period, Kraken win with a 3.5 total goal parlay plus 540 with some money emojis.
Cha-ching.
Nice job. Good for you on that for sure. Circling Seattle sports, not sure how much it really is a sticking point, but seeing Maddie consistently racking up 4 hits a game recently seems solid. I have noticed something similar. It is kind of one of those things I notice when I look at these box scores, who's been hitting, who's been getting the blocks, and then the giveaways and turnovers, although that's kind of like the takeaways, but that's kind of it seems all
Pretty
random at
subjective,
times. Yeah. But yes, I mean, Maddie is being a physical presence. We've been talking about his D so far, and he's showing it, and also with 2 blocks tonight.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And Matty Beniers never been one to shy away from contact.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always want to initiate it if you're him, just because he's not one of the bigger players out there. But he's never had a problem with it.
Yeah, and it is one of those because I always see like this big number next to a small number, and I look and it always makes me double check because it's the hits number that's big and the shots on goal that's low. He's 100% shooting tonight. Maybe we can get a couple more shots in there, Maddie, game to game. Steven, hoping we can turn this road trip like the November month in wins. Love when the Kraken play away. Do you have any idea, RJ, why the Kraken seem to just be so much better away? I mean, Root had that graphic on screen about the teams playing in division on away games. Kraken have yet to lose in regulation in one of those situations. I mean, it still seems like a mystery to me.
Yeah, I can't really put a solid reason to it. I mean, they love playing in front of the home crowd and all that.
Yeah.
There's no mistaking that. Maybe it's just one of those focus things where they almost play better when they can quiet another crowd. When not that it'd be better if the Kraken crowd was quiet, but certain guys like Yanni Gord, I feel like he would rather quiet an away crowd than pump up a home crowd as much as he loves both. Just that certain competitive edge. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to ask after this road trip. Just gonna
Yeah.
have to just come out like, what is it? What is it? Maybe the Kraken PR team can get in there with the mini mic. That would be an interesting one.
Oh man.
Forget the fun, goofy questions. Let's get in here. Valentina Gorgia said he has no idea what playing like a lunch pail team means.
Oh yeah, that was great. I missed it. Of course, it was on the I think it was on the Root post game. But yeah, it's great. Piper asked him, where's the question here? Piper, Coach Hackstall said you need to play like a lunch pail team. What does that mean to you? He said, no idea. You're
Oh man.
not the only one, Yanni.
I was gonna say there's a lot of that. I mean, it is one of those like I vaguely get it, right? Like he means like kind
Yeah.
of having that blue collar workman like approach to it or whatever. It is just funny because it just I don't know for whatever reason I just get like those pictures of the people building like the Empire State Building back in the Depression. They're all up
Yes.
on like the girders and everything way up in the sky, and then I just picture like now like I'm just thinking like some bad Photoshop of Yanni's face on one of those guys. It's somebody make that happen.
I would like for this lunch pail thing to take off enough to the point where it would make sense to make a shirt about it.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, there's got to be something in there. Let's see if we could work out something. Jerry Bruckheimer's probably got some sort of connection somewhere to somebody involved with like Bob the Builder. Maybe we could get something going there. But yeah, I'm liking it. Let's see in here. Joey McDavid is the best. Feel bad for him with no cups, though he's an amazing player. Nobody's even close to him. He's the best in the NHL. It is true, and that's why these wins against him feel pretty good. Means you did good. We limited him to only 1 point tonight, too. That's very impressive.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Shoeshine, what a game, what a response. Edge of my seat all game, and that's what sports is all about right there. Just peak entertainment, get us excited. That's why we do this. We want those feelings. Let's see. Yeah, Maddie just battling on both the fore and back checks was really nice thing to see tonight from Jay there. Let's see. Scott, greetings from Fremont. Schwartz had a nice bounce back game. Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of guys kind of got in there on the score sheet that had been missing for a little while. But I do think that Jaden Schwartz, the way he's been playing, the way he's just been really consistent going to the net, that's kind of why I want to see him get, more and more minutes here for this team, especially on the power play.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's one of the few guys that will go to the net and can do what he does on the power play. We saw Matty Beniers, make a almost Schwartz type play there in this spot tonight, but it highlighted how much of that they're missing basically when he's not on the ice. And Jaden Schwartz, I mean, his scoring's cooled down a little bit recently, but that's just with the entire top six. But I like your Schwartz and Beniers together idea. I'd like to see them try that.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe it wouldn't work, but I do think at this point in time, it seems like it would be mutually beneficial for the two of them. It seems like they have chemistry on that goal, on that Schwartz goal. It sure looked like they had chemistry. So it is something that I'd like to maybe see from the Kraken. Because I was just trying to see how many minutes he had in this one. RJ Schwartz, pretty kind of traditional from Hackstall tonight, riding the top six pretty significantly heavier than the bottom six tonight. Not normal for this team.
No, but when they're playing the way they are, and this is one of the things I really like about Dave Hackstall, is he's good at rewarding the lines and the players that are playing well.
For sure. Let's see. Rock Todd Susie made some key defensive stops. Great team win. Yeah, I do feel like I feel like the Larson Dunn pairing has done a lot to kind of get themselves centered and refocused on defense and all of that kind of stuff. But I do feel like Carson Soucy has also listened to a lot of that and kind of taken to heart some of the issues he might have been having out there as well. Because we've been seeing him also play better defensively. And the big thing is just not taking penalties.
Well, I was going to say, staying out of the box. No penalties for Soucy in the last couple games, both of those wins. And just that alone, especially tonight, especially against this Oilers team, just by staying out of the box, you're doing the team a huge service.
Yes, for sure. Mobaga pointing out Oilers power play predictable with trying to get Draisaitl the shots. They did try to do that. I also felt like the kind of touch pass back from McDavid back up to Tyson Barrie was pretty predictable. And after the one time it went through, the Kraken were able to consistently shut down that shooting lane, get shot blocks, or even force Barrie to have to make a different decision there. So I did like that the Kraken were picking up on that stuff as well on the PK. Something I like to see it, and unfortunately we haven't seen it too much this season.
Yeah, that's true, but good to see it tonight.
Yep. Let's see. Shoeshine, have a good night at your event there. Thanks for stopping by for however long you were able to join us. Let's see. Edward, Kraken won a challenge. Yes, we did.
I know, crazy.
It's absolutely it's mind blowing. Jay, I actually wore my Maddie for Calder shirt today.
Nice.
Awesome.
There you go. Got him going.
We gotta win. We all know what needs to happen now. You gotta wear it for the next game, Jay. That's when you're gonna put it out here. Gonna call it out. That's the way it goes. Let's see. Looks to be 8-3 when Maddie scores a goal, according to Alex. So that's
a pretty good record. Yeah,
that is a very good record. That's just the importance of getting Maddie going. And who knows now? A lot of times with these things, guys, they ride hot and cold streaks. It's the way a lot of players are. So hopefully he's heating up here a little bit. Let's see, Steven, Kraken reign supreme and the Oilers looking like frauds as usual. By the way, happy you guys are going to play in a Winter Classic. I would love to see one at Lambeau Field, but it most likely won't happen. Well, thank you for giving us the shout out for getting that Winter Classic out in Seattle. Wow, a Lambeau Field Winter Classic, that would be something.
It'd be an amazing venue. I mean, just one of those that just iconic and meant for an outdoor game.
Yeah, you wouldn't even need to build a rink. You just take a hose out there. The turf is going to freeze
just
enough.
Lay down. Yep.
Just get some water out there. It's going to be fine. It'd be interesting too who they would play in that game. Like who the NHL would bring in.
Right, because obviously being in Wisconsin, there's no NHL teams from there, but maybe the Minnesota Wild involved. Maybe the Jets, maybe the Red Wings. I don't know. Blackhawks. Blackhawks, of course.
They would bring the Blackhawks. It's an outdoor game, and it's been a year of them not having an outdoor game, so they're due, I guess.
Yeah.
Circling Seattle sports. What have you guys liked from these new lines? Well, I've liked on the Wenberg line. I do feel like that line's been able to generate a lot more offense, and I feel like they're really gelling, and their pace of play has picked up a lot. Like I feel like Wenberg, especially being somebody who's more of a distributor, I feel like that's a big aspect of that is having that confidence with each other, knowing where everybody is, and being able to pick up that pace of play. That really helps out those distributors a lot because it allows them to exercise their creativity, exercise that ability to get the puck moving around fast. That's what they want to be able to do to get those chances, and that's how they generate offense. So I feel like the changes made for that Wenberg line have really been working out well.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, thank you for going with the Wenberg line, because I'm just gonna go to the low hanging fruit here and talk about the Gord, Tolvanen and Bjorkstrand line, because they have just gelled instantly. And I think Ellie Tolvanen is a big part of that. With how well that he's been back checking too. I think it's allowed Oliver Bjorkstrand to play a little bit more aggressively,
Yes.
in the offensive zone and pinch in plays where he maybe otherwise wouldn't, and take some chances there. And I think he's being rewarded for it. I think back to his goal in the Islanders game where he comes in along the boards and you basically hits one Islanders player into another, knocks them both down. But he's not worried about any kind of defensive responsibility there. He's just trying to come in, dislodge that puck, make a play, and then he goes straight to the net and he gets the rebound right in front of it. So things like that are just able to open up his game, and I love the way it's all gelling.
Yeah, free him up to make arguably the most Oliver Bjorkstrand play that we've seen him make all season for the Kraken. And I do feel like, with Tolvanen and Gord, right? We talked about this a lot with Carson Soucy. Yanni Gord likes to play a north-south game. And Tolvanen, it seems like, likes to play a north-south game as well. And I think that's part of what we're seeing with them and that kind of instant chemistry that they're having with each other. Let's see. Tonight is the first time the Kraken have killed an Oilers power play since 2021.
Yep.
From Shoeshine there.
Pointed that one out on Twitter during the game. I couldn't believe it.
That is absolutely wild. I mean, I know we're barely into 2023, but it does make it sound worse.
Still over a year.
Yes.
Still over a full year.
Let's see. Joey, when will Winter Classic tickets go on sale? I live in Maryland and want to see a game in Seattle. That is a good question. As far as I know, we haven't heard anything about
Yeah, the
that.
press release basically said, Winter Classic, T-Mobile Park, January 1st, 2024. All other details coming later.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think, like, because I haven't exactly followed that for these last couple Winter Classics. Like, I don't know if that's going to be an off-season thing that they're going to do over summer, that they'll put up tickets for it. I do know that the email that the Kraken sent out, is kind of like a season ticket holders are kind of, getting the opportunity to do it is the feels I got from that.
I mean, that would make sense.
It makes sense. And I got to think that Vegas season ticket holders are also going to have some sort of crack
Oh,
at it
that's
as
true. I'm
well.
sure there'll be some allotment for them.
Especially because they could not stop saying how well Vegas fans travel. Like, it's a tourism town. I have family in Vegas. I know. It's like, what are you talking about? Let's see. Hello, much better game than the last time they played. Good job, guys. Keep it up, from Pablo there. I mean, it's understatement. This is a much better game than last time. Night and day. But yeah, so hopefully this continues for the rest of this road trip. I think that would be huge for this team. Let's see. CR Bud, I think Ebbs should take some extra empty net practice.
Yeah, the empty net struggles have been a thing. Thankfully, they haven't really had to pay for it too much.
Yes. Let's see. Another reminder from Jay to like the stream. Absolutely love it. Let's see. I like this one from Hex Zero Rogue. If you don't give likes, then you probably love your mother-in-law.
Oh man,
that's a fun one there. Let's see. Larson was asked about his point streak. He emphatically said he really doesn't care about points, from Valentina there. Why am I not surprised, RJ?
Yeah, no. Does this look like a guy who cares about points? I'm sorry to keep like waving this in your face as you don't have it yet.
No, I
but
can't reach to grab it. Yeah, no, that looks like a man who cares about one thing only, and that is high fashion.
Oh yes, clearly. Just no points, just some good solid defense and high fashion.
Just that. Yeah. Let's see. Some more stuff there. CR Bud, Dylan, RJ, any new feeling on what they do with Drieger?
No, I mean, I think my opinion stayed the same, and I mean, if anything, it's very slightly more reinforced tonight that you want to keep Martin Jones on as your second goalie. With how he's played this season, I just don't think that you can bring a guy who's coming in cold and put him in over Martin Jones, because Jones has earned this spot as the team's, well, I was going to say backup, but maybe kind of 1B or even 1A. So I think, with Drieger, the first thing is just to try and get healthy, get warmed up, and prove that he can, that he can do his thing again. And at that point, they can make a decision.
Yeah, I was going to say, because obviously Martin Jones only signed a 1-year deal with the Kraken here. Let's say the current situation basically plays out for the rest of the season. Do you think that the Kraken, one, do you think he would be interested in re-upping with the Kraken? And do you think the Kraken would want to keep him around for another year?
I think the Kraken would want to keep him around for another year. But as far as Martin Jones is concerned, I don't know. If you're Jones, you're worried about, look, Philip Grubauer is kind of the long-term future in net for the Kraken. You don't necessarily want to have to compete with him every year, going forward. And you can probably get more money and more opportunities somewhere else. And I certainly wouldn't blame him for taking either of those things.
Yeah, it will be an interesting situation. Jules with the super chat here. Stuck working at the King Stars game. Just saw the score and woo! Let's go Kraken. Make sure to like the stream and celebrate. Well, thank you for joining us while you could, Jules. Understand, gotta go get that bread. But yeah, it was a fantastic game. It was a really good one. You should definitely check out the highlight package, condensed game, all that stuff, Jules. Highly recommend it. It was really awesome.
Oh yeah.
Let's see here. Edward with the ink over oil. I like that. That's something
good.
that we need to start making happen next time we play the Oilers. That's something we need to do. Let's see. This team finished March with 21 wins last year. This is so much more fun, from Sean. Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a lot better.
Yeah, and especially at this time of year last year, it was a pretty dark point for the Kraken, and we're
Mhm.
just all feeling so much better, aren't we?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I got one here from Daniel. I would also like to see the post match released as a pod. So there's some
All
more
right.
feedback there, and another one of from SJ. I've abandoned Twitter. If it would make me incredibly happy if you started cross posting to a Mastodon server. So we could also look into that.
I've looked into it briefly. I do not understand it. It is so confusing. I've tried.
It's
I
I
still
know
don't understand how it works. It
it's
makes me
it's
feel old.
it's like Discord and Twitter had a baby or something, right? I
Yeah,
don't
basically.
know. Let's see. Jay, Reddit is saying, okay, here is Reddit RJ, if you don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Uh,
Reddit I can understand a little bit.
Reddit is saying that Maddie is Pacioretty in disguise, trying for the Calder. That is interesting. I hadn't considered how much they might kind of look alike there.
Yeah, you know what they kind of do. I think I actually did see that post on Reddit on the Kraken subreddit. Um, yeah, you know what? But hey, I mean, Max Pacioretty, that's a good player to maybe potentially have in disguise playing for your team.
Yeah. It is true. I mean, those guys just they got that cool like movie star capable, just kind of perpetual 5 o'clock shadow stubble that just looks cool. I'm very jealous, RJ.
Yeah, well, if Max Pacioretty is here in disguise, then who was it that gave that ice cream to the kid whose ice cream fell down a couple weeks ago? Did you see that?
I did not. That
This
sounds
Okay,
like a
great
Max
story.
Pacioretty thing
Yes,
though.
totally. Okay, so he's out for the year with the injury and
Yeah.
everything. So at a Canes game, there was a kid who was, eating their ice cream, and then the ice cream just like fell down and they dropped their ice cream, and the kid was kind of upset, like, oh my ice cream, the classic thing.
Yeah.
And Max Pacioretty, I guess, sees this somehow, I don't know how, and then comes down from his spot up in the press box with the team and brings the kid a new ice cream cone and hands it to the kid that just made the kid's day. I think it was surprised, like, who is this that's handing me an ice cream cone?
Yes.
I don't know if as a kid you'd recognize Max Pacioretty out of uniform, but it was a really cool move. I thought it was great.
Oh, that's a fantastic move, and it doesn't surprise me that he would do that at all. By all accounts, seems like a really great guy. That is that is a really good story. Let's see. Becca finally washed my 37 sweater on New Year's. Looks like it worked. It did.
There you go.
Got us out of the slump. Let's go. Um,
And I
uh,
noticed that. Okay, so
yeah.
JA is asking here, how long did you go without washing it? I see Becca hasn't answered yet.
Hey, look, I will say this: washing sweaters, it's always nerve wracking. It is something that
Totally.
I try to avoid at all costs. Always
No,
wear,
I'm
something under it, and then it's okay.
exactly. No, I'm looking at the jerseys in my closet that haven't been washed for many years.
Yeah. I understand that for sure. Let's see. Uh, ch- let's see. Jay, that guy's sitting on my desk at work, and when I'm pounding away on my keyboard in frustration, it feels good to look up at Lars just nodding at me. I know. I can't wait for that same thing as I'm sitting here fighting with editing software to put together scouting report videos. I can just look over to Lars for that little extra something.
Perfect.
Definitely. Circling Seattle sports should see if they do another media clinic during Winter Classic festivities with the little winky face there. I thought about that. I was
I
like,
did
do they
too.
do they do that? I know they'll like for like Heritage Classics, they do like alumni stuff.
Right, they do alumni stuff, but I think I've heard about in the past where they'll do not like a little clinic or anything, but just like a media skate where they have them just go out and you can take a few laps on the rink. I would love that. That would be one of the more exciting moments of my life,
Yeah,
if that were to happen. So looking forward to seeing, what they have all planned for that. I'm so excited for that
I
Winter
know.
Classic. I'm gonna probably make you come up here.
I was just
Uh,
gonna say I'm already like, all right, this is when I gotta plan a trip again.
okay, yeah, don't
Yeah,
make any New Year's Eve plans down there. You're,
no.
you're coming up for that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. So we got some more stuff in here, more calls for the Mastodon. There's a hockey Mastodon server called Bar Down from Becca. So I would assume that's from the actual Bar Down
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm
TSN
affiliated
people.
with
Yeah,
that.
that could be good. And absurdly sane calling us out. If an old woman like me can figure out Mastodon, you two ought to be able to.
Fair enough. That is a good point.
Yep, that is true. Let's see. Carol asking, aren't they dry clean? jerseys. That is interesting. Have you ever dry cleaned a jersey?
I don't think I have. Yeah, I don't think
I've
I
never
have.
even I've never thought about it. I know I turn it inside out and I'll do the washer, but not the dryer.
Hey, Kat, what did we do when the jersey got when there was like pepper spray on the jersey last season? What did we do? Did we just wash it, put it in the washing machine?
We washed it and then we air dried
Okay, we washed it and then we air dried it. Thank you, my
Just
girlfriend coming in clutch with the
yes.
answer there.
Yep.
Because yeah, weird, long story, too long to tell here. But there was a pepper spray incident after the Kraken Flyers game last year in the snow, and we had to wash the jersey. So I was wondering what we did with that.
I was gonna say the Flyers aspect probably says it all there. So similar to what I was saying, Becca, same thing. Turn it inside out, wash on gentle, cold water, color safe detergent, hang dry.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that is the way to go.
And Alex asking for that story. Red Glare, please. Yes, I can tell that one on the next Red Glare podcast.
We can do that. Let's see. Circling Seattle Sports. If we do that, I need to take RJ to the batting cages and see how many balls gets out of the infield. That I would pay money to see that too.
0. I am not a power hitter. I will somehow sneakily get on base from running fast, but I do not hit for power.
Let's see. Striatic with the yeah. Winning is fun and all, but think about our draft rankings. That better just be a reference to last season's Striatic. Otherwise, I'm gonna put you on a 5-minute timeout.
Can we do that?
I maybe. Yes, put user in a timeout. I have that function, so we're gonna have
Wow.
to. I'm gonna have to do that for Alex, and he knows why. Uh, is the play versus the Oilers tonight an expectation for what the baseline performance of the Kraken should be? From Hexer Rogue there. I do think that it is. I mean, this kind of level of defense, playing solid, having a solid structure defensively, getting your goalie to make saves when you need to, and then obviously getting some goals from good forwards. I do think that should be the expectation. That was certainly the expectation that was built over the month of November.
Yeah, definitely. I think it should be the expectation the way that they've played and keeping things manageable for your goalie more than anything else, because that's what's ultimately going to decide, how far this team goes. Is which Kraken team that we see, the one that just makes life hell on their goalies, or the one that
Mhm.
makes the job doable. And if you can start with that, then the scoring's going to come, and you can expect to beat most teams.
Yeah, I agree. So I do think that this should kind of be the standard. I mean, yeah, you don't need to win 5-2 against the Oilers every night, but I do think that this level of play, effort, scoring on a power, being 1 for 3 on a power play, right, doing well on the PK, I do think that those should be considered kind of the bar and the standard for the Seattle Kraken, because I do honestly believe they are good enough to do that. Last season, I probably at this point in time wouldn't have said that, but I do
Mhm.
really feel that way about this group this year. Let's see some more stuff. I got blood all over my jersey. I soaked it in hydrogen peroxide. I've heard similar things, Jay. Hopefully you're okay in that situation. Everybody was fine. Let's see. Circling Seattle Sports had to do that today. Went down on a Lime scooter. My first day wearing my away Burakovsky jersey. Inside out, delicates, hang dry, boom, saved. Hopefully you're doing all right there. That is
Yeah.
brutal. And it is always the first day, but you know what? Now you've gotten it out of the way. So now you don't have to worry about it so much. Because when you get like a new jersey, you know how you can't help but worry every time you wear it. You're like extra
Mhm.
careful of everybody at the arena. You're just like, is that a beer behind me? Like, no, let's not do that.
Yeah, no, good to get that out of the way. Don't have to worry as much.
Blue Frost pointing out we made them pull their goalie this time. Absolutely. I mean, Stuart Skinner, yes, the Kraken were doing a good job getting there for these rebounds, but like on the Oilers side of things, those rebounds were atrocious. So I understand Woodcroft making that decision. It was partly to wake up his team and partly because I do think Skinner was having some difficulties tonight.
Yeah, but it just wasn't his night. He wasn't terrible, but yeah, with some of those rebounds coming out, you just felt like he wasn't gonna make enough saves to be able to keep his team in it, given the comeback they'd have to make.
Yeah. Let's see. Put them in timeout and not in the penalty box. Well, it's the function is called timeout, but I could certainly call it putting them in the penalty box. Definitely do it. Keeping this from Alex, keeping an eye out for those Winter Classic jerseys. Might have to buy one if their choice. I imagine they will be. And that is
Yeah.
going to be something interesting. I mean, when did we hear about the Winter Classic jerseys for this Winter Classic? It's not that far in advance, right?
No, it's not. I think it was definitely after the season started. So I
Yeah.
think it might be a ways before we see an actual real design, but I think we all have an idea, maybe what it'll be based off of.
Yeah. So I think it is going to be interesting, but yeah, I don't expect really to have any other information on this until the off season.
Yeah, same. Because I think, there isn't any right now. I don't think there
Yeah.
really is a design.
Yeah, agreed. Let's see. Yeah, circling Seattle sports felt like a hot shot was literally across the street from CPA. Then all of a sudden, the scooter's turning sideways. Next thing I know, I'm in the mud.
Oh,
Brutal,
rough
brutal,
one there,
brutal.
Charles. Hope you're,
Uh,
hope you're all right,
I
man.
know. Jay asking, they're going to be Metropolitans, right? That is the rumor, and that has been
Yep.
the rumor from people who were kind of proven right about the rumor of it being what it is. So I think for now, it is rumor, but it feels like that's what it's
Yeah,
going to
and people who have leaked some of the reverse retro jerseys, Aesthetics, of course, a very reputable source, is also in on that. So it's some trustworthy people, I think, that are hinting it that way.
Yeah. Blue Frost, I'll have to spend New Year's Eve in town then. Was in Seattle for Christmas and watched the Flames game at CPA. Wanted to bring a shoot the puck sign. I can certainly understand that coming off of some of those games in that little stretch there. Let's see. Becca wondering how much time, ice time, Draisaitl and McDavid got. Looked like they were putting them out there every other shift. That is partly what they do. I've got it up right
Yeah,
here.
Oh, good, you
Draisaitl.
got it.
Yeah, Draisaitl 23-37 in his return tonight, so definitely not easing him back into the lineup at all. And then McDavid with 21-18 on his end. It is a lot. There's a reason. I mean, McDavid is way up there as far as forwards ice time this season. It's like close to 22 minutes a night for a forward. That's a lot of ice time. And then that's why it's also so impressive that he's up there with all these Kraken depth guys in like points per 60 because he's playing a lot of 60s.
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah, and I think they have splits by like first, second, and third period. I can't look it up fast enough, but to see how much ice time of that was in the third period, I'm sure it was a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Chris, we can chat Winter Classic details at the Cup Parade. Let's go.
There we go.
And then a super chat here from Omagad. Who's the bigger rival, Oilers or Canucks? Well, I mean, right now it feels kind of like the Oilers because we can go back and forth with them.
Yeah, exactly. We've talked about this. A rivalry needs both teams to win at least one game, and the Kraken haven't given us that against the Canucks. I got to go with the Oilers, and it's not particularly close right now.
Yeah, I think it's Jeff looks like green down there. Let's see, Jay. I'd say Oilers at this point. We've beat each other. Yes. Need to beat
Yeah,
the
other team
Canucks
in
at
their
least
barn
once.
too.
Yeah,
Those roads wins are big for that as well.
yeah. Yeah, no, all good stuff there. Thanks everybody for joining us. We're just a little past the hour mark here. Oh, Joey with the flex. Got the Tanev,
McCann,
the McCann, the Beniers, and the Burakovsky jerseys. That is nice. It is
love to
nice to
see
have
it.
variety. It is
Yep,
nice.
you can just pick one
When you
out based
can.
on the day, whatever you're
Who
feeling.
you feeling today? Who had a good game last game, all right, so we're gonna wrap things up for this one, everybody. Huge win for the Kraken. Nice to get a divisional win, kick off this road trip, go in the right direction, get some sweet revenge, redemption, however you want to play it. I'm gonna say let's say we're villains tonight. It was revenge, not redemption.
There we go. Revenge. I like it.
I like it too. Thanks everybody for joining us for this one. Another shout out to Queen Anne Beer Hall. I absolutely love them supporting us and supporting the podcast, supporting these post game lives. So definitely want to give them all the love. And thanks for spending your evening with us and with the Kraken. And we will see you all next time.